Greetings, everybody. Greetings. Welcome to our Wednesday night hour of power recharge. And I'm so excited on tonight because we're going to do something that's unconventional, that's different than the norm. I get to sit and have a conversation with my good friend, with my brother, with my covenant brother, Bishop Eric McDaniel, who pastors two churches in two different locations in the Bronx, and the Lord's Church in the Bronx, and also the Lord's Church in North Carolina. And so I'm excited because he is a general, a father of the faith, who now is imparting wisdom and insight into those who would love to sit at his feet and glean from his wisdom. I'm so excited on tonight. I'm ecstatic. As you can see, I'm elated because this is different than what I normally do, and I actually get to relax the gospel. We get to sit and learn from those who have paved the way for us. And so, without further ado, I want you guys to bring them on here. I want you to tag somebody. I want you to share this because this is going to be an exhilarating conversation, an intriguing conversation, some a conversation that is actually going to benefit each and every one of us. So, Life Restoration Church and my cyber church and everybody that's out there, I want you now. I want you now. This is the time. This is the time for you to make sure that you're tagging somebody. Start your watch parties. Share this because I believe that Bishop Eric McDaniel is going to bring a lot of insight and a lot of wisdom to the questions that we have. And so, without further ado, I want to bring on our Bishop Eric McDaniel, and he is going to give us some answers to the questions that I have. Bishop, how are you?
Bless you, sir. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great. I know that I know that situations got us all in the kingdom separated right now. But I believe,
Separated, isolated.
yeah, it has us. It does. It has us separated. Before we even get into it, talk about it if you don't mind before because the topic on tonight is sonship. It's sonship, and we have questions as to what does it mean to be a son. Is it important to have a covering? Is it important for a father to impart into his sons, and to have a successor, which we see nowadays, that sometimes people have to expire before there is a successor named, or even to take their place. And so, before we get into it, because of Corona and or COVID-19, is there anything that you want to say as far as with that is concerned? What's your insight on it? What you think about it? What do you have as far as with that?
Well, I think the concept of sonship is is a very important subject. It's a very important concept. Um, the Bible does give us that example on so many levels. And so it is something that we should be mindful of. It is something that we should understand. Um, However, I think it is also a concept that is abused.
Mm,
I feel like it may be in some ways misunderstood, mishandled, and as much as a blessing that it is and that it can be, it can also be very problematic.
mm,
And I think um, during this time, it is important that, and I don't feel like um, there's anything about this situation, this coronavirus, that makes it any more important than it was before. It always had the same level of importance. I just think that now is a time, since we cannot have church, now we have conversation.
Mm,
And I think that's one of the good things that this whole situation has brought about. Times, church, we're just shouting, um, uh, sayings, church sayings at each other,
mm-hmm.
exciting each other with
Mm-hmm.
our little, our little churchiness. But we never get to really address the real situations and the real um, problems that exist. So now we have nothing else to do but talk.
Mm.
Even though there's some still shouting out, uh, they still doing the same thing. I don't understand how we could be at this point and you do the same exact thing. You know, I think this is a time that it will be beneficial to make some changes and to um, look at and minister in another dimension.
Mm-hmm. Did Bishop, um before we go further into sonship, because you already touched some things that uh that that intrigued me, or raised my curiosity, especially when you said the problems of sonship. But did you have a problem, or what did you do, or how did you handle the shutting of both of your locations? Because I know that some people had issues or concerns. Um, I would say, as far as closing their church doors. But the way I looked at it is that I want to make sure that the sheep are protected, as well as my family, as well as myself. And so I didn't have a problem with shutting the church doors. I just wanted to make sure that that I was protecting the sheep. Not only that, but it took more faith for me to shut the church, and to make sure that everything, that God was going to take care of me and take care of the church, and different things like that, than me to keep the church door open. Because
Hmm.
I realized that faith is applied when you are in a struggle, when you are in challenges. Because if we didn't have struggles, or we didn't have challenges, then we wouldn't need faith. Because there will be nothing that'll be challenging our confidence in God, or opposing, or being antagonistic against our confidence in God. And so,
Hmm.
therefore, our reliance in God. So it took more faith for me to close the church and believe that God was going to take care of anything, than for me to have the church open. So I would say, what was your experience in that?
Um, I too was amongst the first uh, to to shut down. Yeah, I had I had come to the decision when it first, probably the first Sunday, I believe it was, in March. I decided that we would not do night services, that we would limit to just Sunday morning.
Mm,
Because my mindset was, as you said, I wanted the people to be safe. That was my well, I'd be lying if I would say that, I think there was equal concern. I'll
hmm.
put it that way. It was equal concern for the people, but also concern for myself.
Right.
my age, my physical challenges that I have had,
Right.
uh, would cause me to have to use, as they say, an abundance of caution.
Hmm.
And so I decided then that we would have Tuesday night service online,
Right.
and then by uh, I think the second Sunday, that was the last time that we had service,
Hmm.
and that's when it had gotten really, really bad,
Hmm.
and that's when they started uh, uh, putting out mandates as far as our worship services were concerned. But it was not a problem to me at all
Right.
because um, the safety of the people, my safety.
Hmm.
I have my two daughters. I have two grandsons,
Right.
and it was not worth putting my life and their lives and the people, anybody's life,
Right.
not worth putting in jeopardy over something as potentially dangerous as COVID-19.
Right. I understand. I truly do understand. And I respect that decision. And it shows where your heart and the intent of your heart. It
Mhm.
really does. It shows the that you are a protector and you are what they would consider, as Jesus said, the good shepherd. You're not a hireling. None of us are a hireling where we just, we'll put the sheep out there unprotected. But you are a good shepherd who protects your sheep and want to see the best for your sheep. And so,
That is that's our assignment. If we're not protecting the sheep, then what are we doing?
right. Uh,
That's our number one assignment, to protect the sheep.
Bishop, don't you start, because you just posed the question. What are we doing?
What are we doing? What are we doing? What are you doing? Sitting in a big chair, wearing a collar, what are you doing if you're not protecting the sheep? You're wasting everybody's time. You got That's your number one job, to protect the sheep.
Hmm.
Any shepherd that does not protect his sheep does not need to be a shepherd.
All right, say
He has
that
to
one
do
more time for the people in the back.
Any shepherd that does not protect his sheep does not need to be a shepherd. Be something else. Be a Work in the marketplace. Do something else. But don't be a shepherd if you don't care for the sheep.
But Bishop, you know that that's going to cause some major issues of the statement that was just said,
I
because
said what I said. I don't take back I don't take back a word of what I said. I meant what I said. I meant every word of it.
and I
Go
agree.
something else. Go you can find something else that you can do,
Hmm.
but don't be a shepherd. These are lives. These are souls,
Hmm.
you know.
And I totally 100% agree with you that even as shepherds, we're supposed to care for the sheep. We're supposed to care for the well-being and make sure that they're okay and oversee the health of the sheep. And so
That's right.
I totally understand it, and
Hmm.
it's critical that we do so. And
You know
so,
what the problem is? We're too busy trying to get the wool off the sheep.
okay, go ahead and explain it, Bishop. Explain it.
Yeah, because the shepherd,
Expound.
the shepherd, a part of what he does is he gets the wool. The sheep grows wool,
Mm-hmm.
and so it's a part of the shepherd's job to to keep that wool sheared.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, he gets paid for that. He gets money for that. And so when you're more concerned with getting the wool and the money you get from the wool rather than the life of the sheep, then something is wrong.
Whew. Bishop, you're touching some areas here.
It's the truth, man. It's the truth, and it's not good. It's not good. I I made a post today
Mm-hmm.
about because I saw someone selling um, cloths and oil and shawls, and I made a comment, and people thought I was talking about one person, but I was not talking about. I had no idea of who they thought I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw it, I it's my job as a protector of the sheep to say no. You don't need to pay for a shawl, a cloth, oil in order for you to get a prayer through or in order for you to be blessed.
Bishop,
What in the world is going on?
Bishop. Now you know. Now you.
No, and my no, my job as a shepherd is to protect the sheep from. I'm not gonna call nobody a wolf. I'm not gonna call nobody. I ain't calling nobody no names. That's not me.
Right.
But we must protect the sheep.
But Bishop, do you think the problem nowadays, because this conversation done took a big turn, do you think the problem nowadays is that because now you see sons doing the same thing or duplicating the same thing that they see, um, I would say their fathers doing or their mothers doing? Do you think that we're we're leaving the sheep unprotected and allowing them to kind of venture out into the wild on their own, and this is what they get involved in, and now all of a sudden they believe that the power is in the oil that's being sold or in the cloth that's being sold instead of God. So now the market is increasing, or the the products are increasing, and our faith isn't even in God anymore. It's we don't placed it in the oil, or placed it
But
in the cloth, or
see,
the miracle water.
see, that's why it's important that those of us, again, shepherds, pastors, it's important that we take care, maintain, teach, prepare, cover the sheep that have been assigned to us.
Mm.
We have to first of all, we've got to be teaching them. We spend a lot of time trying to teach what's going to excite them and what's going to impress them instead of teaching them doctrine, sound biblical doctrine.
But
Teach
Bishop, that's
them.
what sells nowadays to this younger generation. That's what sells. They want the hype. They want the glamour. They want all of that. And I'm not saying that I agree with that. You know
Hmm.
me. I'm not saying that
Hmm.
I agree with that.
Hmm.
But
But but that's why your when you grew up in the house with your parents, they did not give you what you wanted.
mm.
They gave you what you're supposed to have. Come here and take this cod liver oil. I know you don't like it. I know it don't taste good to you, but come here and take it. This
Father
gonna stop.
John.
Father John, this is going to stop you from getting colds. This is
Hmm.
going to help your immune system. I know you rather have some ice cream. I know you rather have some cookies, but here, you're going to take this.
Hmm.
Same thing. that we as pastors have to do. We have to give the people, we ought to be teaching them sound doctrine so that they don't know. I don't need no um oil that I gotta pay for in order to get a prayer through. I don't need a, a blessed cloth in order to get a prayer through. Yes, the apostles gave out um handkerchiefs that they had that were blessed, but the people didn't have to pay for them.
Mm-hmm. Right. I
The shawls, you don't need since when we need all of that to get a prayer through. This is what I don't understand. You don't need that to be blessed. You don't need that to get a prayer through. All you need is faith in God.
I
All you need is faith in God. So if we're teaching them, if we have, so number one, our responsibility is to teach them and to teach them the truth, to teach them biblical sound truth, sound doctrine, and then we have to, when we see things like that, we got to speak out against it so that they don't think, because now is a time that everybody's you know everybody wants to know what we're going to do, how we're going to get through this. We need, is there something special that we need?
Mhm.
For instance, when this started, um I went and got, as a matter of fact, it was the week of Passover.
Mhm.
And so I just went and got a red handkerchief,
Mhm.
and I just put it over my door. And I said, this red handkerchief don't stop nothing.
Mhm.
This is not, I'm not calling this no anointed handkerchief, none of that.
Mhm.
It's a sign.
Right. Just
It's
symbolic.
a symbolic to remind me
Mhm.
and to remind anybody that comes past my house that has any type of understanding that this house is covered by the blood.
By the blood. I get it.
You see, and so, if we teach things and we give people an understanding of sound biblical principles, they won't have to fall for this.
Mhm.
They'll, and then we cover them. We cover them. We speak out against false doctrine. We speak out against, you know, I don't want to say,
I get it though. I get it. I truly I truly get it, because there's a standard that we should live by as far as biblically speaking. And so anything outside of the principles or the foundational things that we're supposed to be doing, the doctrinal things, then we should make sure that we stand against that, because
yeah.
those are the things, if we allow it and we accept it, it's going to bring a reproach upon the thing, upon what we preach, as well as upon what we're living. And so,
and, and we have to teach them about the spirit of desperation. The-
mm,
we
okay,
see
go
a
ahead.
lot of stuff going on because of a spirit of desperation. As the people, we're desperate for something that's going to keep us safe. We're desperate for something that's going to make us be all right, and make us not get sick, and so desperation causes us to grab a hold of whatever's coming by, even if something's coming by that's not
Uh
biblical.
huh.
We grab a hold to it. That's desperation. Desperation on the other end. You trying to, keep your income, because now we don't have no dates. We don't have no church. So we don't have no dates. Nobody's calling us to come and preach. So now desperation.
Uh huh.
Sell prayer. Sell. Oh, so we got to teach them. No, don't be desperate. We
Right.
don't have to be desperate. God, we need, the only one we're desperate for is God.
Mm-hmm.
God, we're desperate for you, and if we have you, everything else is good. If If I have God as the people, if I have God, my faith in God, I trust God that He's going to keep me safe. If I get sick, He's going to heal me. You know, if I get sick and I go on to be with the Lord, I'll be in the presence of the Lord. You know what I'm saying? So my desperation is for God. It, from the other end, from the preacher end, I don't have to be desperate.
Mm-hmm.
God took care of Elijah during the time of a famine.
Right.
He sent them bread and meat
Right.
every morning.
Right.
He was taken care of. He didn't have to worry. So I don't have to be desperate and do desperate things in order to get money from people. God's going to take care of me even if I don't have an engagement.
Right.
I don't have to do desperate things.
I got you. I got you. I understand. And can I ask you this? Do you think that um a lot of sons are desperate for titles?
Son, let me tell you something.
I'm just asking, Bishop, because
I'm going I'm going to gladly answer.
because I think that if anything has taught, if technology has taught me anything, I've noticed how many people how many people w- won't even answer the call on their lives, but they answer the call of Facebook because now all of a sudden, or answer the call on Instagram because now they see that it can bring you glamour or bring you fame or give you some type of notoriety. So now I'm a prophet. So now I'm a pastor. So now I'm an apostle. And there's no legitimacy behind that. And so and I'm just wondering because all of a sudden you see all of these prophets popping up. But when the famine, I mean, when the pandemic came, wasn't nobody saying nothing. And so for me, back in when I read my Bible, sometimes the prophets will warn you of what's going to happen. And
Yeah.
so, I'm just asking, and I'm not trying to start nothing, but I just really want to know: are people really desperate for titles in this generation?
Um Not just I want to find the right way to word it because um I want it to be real. I want it to be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And if I use the term sons and if I use the terms father and sons in the context that you're speaking,
Mm.
I would have to say the fathers and the sons have been desperate for titles. It ain't just the sons. It ain't just the
Bishop,
sons. It's
Bishop,
it's
you got to explain.
okay. It's plenty of. First of all, if we're looking at sons being desperate for titles, we might have to say that they got it from the fathers.
Wait, Bishop, hold that thought. So we right back to the beginning.
We're right back.
So you're basically saying somewhere down the line, our behavior, we learned that from the fathers.
Some of it,
Some of it.
yeah, some of it, some of it, and you can see the same concept in the natural family.
Oh my God.
The in the natural family, there are some things that you will do just like your father.
Mm-hmm.
Some
Right.
things your sons will do just like you.
Right.
And then there's some things that you'll see them do and you'll be like, well, where did you get that from? I didn't teach you that. You see? So there's some things that you pass down as a father, and some things that you glean from others. Now this being title hungry,
Mm.
um, I don't see it as a generational problem.
Okay.
I see it as, when I say today's generation, I mean, I don't mean the millennials.
Hmm.
I mean maybe since the 90s.
Wow. Okay. Okay. You got to talk, Bishop. You got to tell.
I'll say, I got you. Um, I would say before the 90s, uh, and I include myself in this now. Now, I am not a bishop because I went and demanded to be made bishop. I'm not a bishop because I asked to be made bishop. I am a bishop because I was assigned. I was told, we making you a bishop, even when I was like, no, I'm not ready yet. This is what we're doing. Okay. So,
So,
um,
so, so,
but
wait, Bishop, stop. Hold on. So, what's that scripture? Like, if you desire the office of a bishop, or something like that,
yes,
then am I there?
yeah, you're there. So you
You
can, the
desire.
bishop,
So,
the
so
the
are we taking that
office
out of
of a bishop,
context?
the office of a bishop is something to be desired,
Mm-hmm.
and it is fine. It is okay when you desire to be in office, to be in the office of a bishop.
Mm-hmm.
My point is, there was a day when you said bishop, you automatically pictured someone that was of years,
Mm-hmm.
someone that was of experience,
Mm-hmm.
someone, um, who had a voice, a solid sound voice. A bishop was someone who had a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
They had, you know, of they had something going on, but something happened
Mm-hmm.
where, um, the title bishop seemed like it was something, that was passed around
Giving out like candy.
like communion.
Oh, oh. And that's supposed to be a sacred thing.
Yes. And so, and then it wasn't just bishop. Then everybody became a part. It was not like this in the 80s, 70s. It was not like this. Everybody was not apostle. Everybody was not bishop. Everybody was not prophet.
Mm,
It's some
mm,
people that you would see operate in the prophetic, and they were still just sister so and so,
mm-hmm,
brother so and so, you know, mother so and so, you know. It was a day when being called mother so and so was something,
mm-hmm.
you know. But it has all changed now. But it's
But why are we so um, enamored by titles, or we have that craving or that appetite just to hold that office? For somebody like me, I'm going on 44 years old, and I served my father for 18 years. I served him for 18 years, and I would have kept on serving him. And matter of fact, I'm serving him now, even though I am pastor. But I served him for 18 years, and never once did I go to him and say that I wanted to be a pastor. Never once did I go to him and say that. And so now I find that, you know, mo- most of us. most of us are going to our fathers and asking for our inheritance, what we would consider an inheritance or a portion. I just got finished speaking, and I was speaking on, I think it was First Kings chapter 2, how Adonijah he thought that the kingdom was his, but David gave it to Solomon.
Solomon.
And so, and those two had a few, because Adonijah wanted to use deception in order to get the kingdom or to become king. And and it's so funny to me that it's like it's replaying itself in this generation, possibly you said in the 90s, that generation, in my generation. And I don't know what it is, because and I know I've told you this before. I said sometimes I feel like I started late. I feel like I started late because I'm not even, not that I don't desire to become it or don't see myself as it, is that it's just not my focus. My focus is doing the will of God. And that's all I really want. I just want to make it in, Bishop. I want to make it in them gates. And in them gates, I ain't taking no titles with me. But some people, they desire the title, but can't handle the office.
Absolutely. It's it's uh, people feel like um it's cloud. We have built this church hierarchy, and this, um you get you get the front seat. You get to sit on the platform with this one and that one. It's the era of the celebrity preacher. And
That sounds like a good show, though.
the celebrity preacher, right? It would be a good show, but we see it all the time.
Hmm.
Um, and people think that, having having this title puts them on the platform, and it's going to get them clout, it's going to get them members, it's going to get them money, it's going to get them, all this stuff, and they will soon find out that it really doesn't.
But can I ask you a question, though, Bishop?
Hmm.
Who whose fault is it that led us to believe these things?
Um,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but you led me down that path.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, I understand what you're saying. But
And how could we correct
whose fault is it is a hard question to answer. And I know what a lot of people think,
it? Hmm.
and that they will say, I think the fault is to be shared.
Got it.
The fault is to be shared amongst those that were in leadership,
Hmm.
but also those that want leadership, that want to be leadership. The want to be's, the wannabes, plus the it's everybody's fault. It's
Right.
a perfect storm.
Right.
It's a mixture of everybody's mentality that has created this atmosphere. How to fix it? I believe that it takes everybody on an individual basis
Hmm.
to adjust, to have a paradigm shift. And
Hmm.
I think that's one of the things that this situation should be doing, is it should be shifting paradigms.
Hmm.
It should be shifting our thoughts. What was important before March, February,
Hmm.
we should see now that that's not really it.
Right.
Like right now, we should see that a title is not that really important.
Mm,
It's that what is a title right now?
mm-hmm.
What is a title right now? Right now, everybody, every preacher ought to be trying to care for some souls,
Mm,
trying to find your way to care for some souls.
mm-hmm.
That's how you see where your calling is.
Right.
That's how you see what you're supposed to be. Right now, if right now you're still just trying to self promote, if right now you're still just trying to secure your bag and secure your seat on the stage, that we don't know when
Mm,
or if the stage will ever be anymore.
mm-hmm.
If that's your focus, then something is off. Right now, your focus ought to be on let me care for people who are experiencing all of the different issues that come as a result of what's going on.
Mm-hmm. And I must say, because I want to know your history as well, so people know that you're not just talking just to be talking. You've lived through this. You were a son. Um, and you're still a son. You're still under somebody, but you're also a father to many as well. And I know you are, because I was on a group chat, or a group video Zoom call, that one of the brothers had, one of the pastors had orchestrated, and there was like maybe what, like 40 or 50 or maybe more, I can't remember, but we all were on there, and you were on there. We're all the same age, the same, in that same pastoring age bracket. But then we had fathers. We had a father that was sitting there and pouring wisdom into us, which would be you. And so,
I'm the
like,
same age bracket as y'all. Don't even
yeah,
try me today. I'm in the same. I don't have. I don't. I didn't take off my shirt to show my tattoos on my arm. I'm not showing my arms yet. But
listen, listen, listen. I don't want you to get kicked out the church for having tattoos like me. But I have a great, like I said, and you know my history, my father, and I have a great relationship with my father. I mean, an awesome relationship with my father, and in fact, my father stood up before the church, which I didn't know that he was going to do at the time, because I still thought that he was giving me time to figure out what I wanted to do. Because he told me that he wanted me to be pastor, and God told him that it was my time. And I said, basically, let me think, I accept, but let me think, let me get everything I need out, so I can begin to be, on that journey of pastoring. But he stood up before the church and said, and it broke me down. It made me almost cry, because I realized that, he said, my son is gonna pastor. He stood up before the church and said, my son is gonna be the pastor of this church, and he's also going to be my pastor. And when he said that, man, you don't know how humble I was, to even, like, just to hear him say that I'm going to be his pastor, was like, it changed and transformed my mind, because I was like, man, this is my pastor. How am I going to be his pastor? And when he said that, like, tears started forming in my eyes, because I couldn't believe that he respected me that much, that now I would become his pastor, even though he's still my pastor. But it was different, because I wasn't used to hearing anybody say anything
mhm,
like that. And
right.
so for me, waiting all these years, waiting my turn, never trying to usurp my father's authority or even trying to replace him in any way, shape, or form. This is the result of a good son, I should say, or someone who really has the heart of their father in mind. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
so for me, it was more of, man, I respect him, but now he showed that he respected me.
Right.
And so I was, Bishop, when I say I was floored, and then even before that, before I even became pastor, I ain't gonna lie, Bishop, I never thought that you would even talk to me. I never thought that you would talk to me. I just so
Me?
happened, I don't know how I know it was on Facebook that we connected. And then, I just never thought that because of your notoriety and I wasn't in your prominence in the gospel. Now I know you so humble that you say you ain't,
I talk to
this and that.
anybody.
Yeah, and you ain't
I,
nobody. Yeah,
and
I
I
get
ain't
that.
no. I'm just a nobody trying to tell everybody about somebody who can save anybody.
But Bishop, because of who you are, and because I just never thought. Now I've reached out and just tried to have conversations with different other ones, and it wasn't successful. Even as I was pastor, just trying to just just trying to even get them, to offer them an invitation, and
Right.
and so and so for me, developing a relationship with you is something that I've never, and that goes far beyond invitations, engagements to speak. We have a relationship, and it's built on trust. And that's the foundation of it. It's built on trust. And then when you came to my installation, it showed a brotherhood that, and people were probably amazed and astounded that that you that you walked up in there. But it showed how much you actually love me and care about my well-being, and you signed my credentials. You signed my credentials. And so for me it was more of, and I'm not gonna lie, I never thought that you would even reach out, and when you did I was like, wait, what? Come again? Like, this is Bishop McDaniel, and this is, I had his CDs. I, I remember when I was a little kid, when you and Hez came to First United Methodist, and I ain't gonna say what you call my city, but in Newburgh, y'all came, and I woke up, and I asked Hans, and I remember I asked Hans, Bishop, excuse me, no disrespect, but I asked Bishop Walker. I said, "Can I get your autograph?" And he was like, "Yeah." And then everybody else started doing it. And then I seen you, and I asked for your autograph, and you never turned me away. I remember things like that. I remember, and I was young. I was young, and so and then to reconnect later on, it's crazy to me how, things come full circle. And now we have a relationship, a covenant relationship, where you watch over me. You make sure I'm all right. It's a brotherhood. And I watch out for you and make sure ain't nobody messing with you, and because you my dude like that. And so for me, having that relationship with my father, I think is valuable. Um, what calls you, and I'm gonna end it because I know you're busy, but what led you to this path? What led you? Like, is your I know your parents are in church or were in church, or well, they still in church, because I know mom is still in church, but give us a little history of where you came from, so people know that you're just not no fly by night. You've been here.
I've been here. I was I was pretty much born on the altar. I always say. I never remember. I was thinking about this being out of church, I've never in my life
Mm-hmm.
been out of church this much. I've never, it was not until not too long ago that I was able to be out of church for one Sunday for vacation.
Oh.
For vacation. I remember when we first got married, we would go on, as a matter of fact, the Saturday that we got married on Saturday, August the 29th, 1987.
Wow.
Sunday, August the 30th, I was at church. My father was like, "Yeah, I know you just got married and everything, but I need you to be at church Sunday morning." And so I was at church Sunday morning. And
Now, what were you at the time?
huh?
What title did you have at the time?
I was the organist, and I was a minister. I was minister, but
And everybody, I know y'all don't know this. Not only is he a great speaker, expostulator of the gospel of Jesus Christ, but the man can play the organ. Y'all, y'all learning some things that people don't know. He can play, and I caught him one time playing at what was it, the convocation that you got on, uh, not during the service, but you got on while all the musicians were, I think it was rehearsal or something like that, and you were playing.
yeah,
I
I
said, this man could really play.
I get on, especially if I want to hear something or sing something that the newbies don't know. I'll get on in a minute. Um, yeah, but after that, I would when we would go on vacation, I would go to a church. I remember us going. We went to some island somewhere. I don't remember what island we went to, and I looked for a church. And we were away on a island. My wife was like, "You serious?"
Was dad pastoring at the time?
Yeah, my dad was pastoring. Well, no, this was after my dad had passed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my dad passed in 2001.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've been.
But he was a pastor.
He was a pastor.
Now, let me ask you this, because so you can finish. How was your relationship as far as because I'm pretty sure he's seen things in you that he started to develop. He started to train you in this way,
Hmm.
and so um, what are some of the things that he did with you? You
Well, my
know,
father was very, very strict on me.
really.
Very, 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 very strict. Very, very strict. I don't know if you got the message as
Yeah,
to how strict.
I'm getting it. You
I don't know
you
if you
are
got the message as to
emphasizing
how
very.
strict he was. Huh?
I say you are emphasizing very.
Yes. But I understand that he saw what was in me. He saw, the hand of God on me. And
What name one thing? Name one thing that he was strict with that you don't see fathers being strict with their sons now.
um, humility.
Now I ain't think that would be one. Oh my gosh!
Humility.
Wow!
He made sure that I didn't get the big head.
Wow!
He made sure, and even though that's never been in my in my makeup.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been an issue for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, he just secured it and just made sure, and I'm sure that it was God. He made sure that I understood. Yeah, when you go out there, you're Eric McDaniel,
Mm-hmm.
but when you come here, when you get here, you get someplace and sit down, because here you ain't all that. Yes, he made it very, very clear.
So dad was no joke.
No, my dad was no joke.
But
My
you
dad.
know what though, Bishop? I'm not gonna lie. Look at you now. You're one of the, that's why I don't have a problem, talking to you and being around you, and because you're the same. You are such a, you know how they say lowly and meek? That's you are you are
I don't
meek and lowly.
I don't know how to be any other way. I have no reason to be any other way. I, you know, I am a, I'm like the apostle. He had the thorn in his flesh to keep him humble.
Mm,
And at any time I would get beside myself and I would start thinking that I'm somebody,
hmm.
God lets me feel the pain of the thorn.
Wow.
And you feel that pain, and that reminds you, no, you're not all that. You're just a human being. Don't treat people like that. Don't act like you're above people and you're better than people. No,
I, and you know what though? I wish that some of us would still feel the pain of our thorns instead of ignoring it, because some of us forget where we came from.
absolutely.
So I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, because it just reminds you that, like Dad said, you're not all that.
You're not all that. You believe the hype. You believe the hype.
Right.
And that's what happens. People start believing the hype.
Mm-hmm.
They start believing the press.
Mm-hmm.
But the truth of the matter is,
Mm-hmm.
and
And
you know that their hype
mm-hmm.
about your gift.
Mm-hmm.
But
So let me ask you this: when did you start pastoring?
I started pastoring in '93. As a matter of fact, this Sunday is uh, is our anniversary.
Oh wow.
Yeah, this Sunday I started pastoring May the 24th, 1993.
Okay, that's amazing. Congratulations, Bishop. For real.
You, thank you. I've seen a lot over the years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've experienced a lot over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and I, there are a lot of people that say don't that you shouldn't have regrets. Yeah, there's some things that I regret. I'm not one of those, and if I am criticized for saying it, it's okay. I'll take the criticism. Uh, I can stand it. Um,
Uh-huh.
but yeah, there's some things I regret. There's some decisions I regret. There are some things that I did that I regret.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. But I do not regret saying yes to God,
Yeah.
to ministering to his people. That I don't regret.
I have just two more questions, and I promise you I'll let you go. Uh,
Hmm.
I promise you. Um, because you seen Dad as a pastor, and Dad put these gifts and talents, or cultivated what was already inside of you, developed you, to
Hmm.
make you the great person that you are today.
Hmm.
Um, when and now you have your own church. Um, my question is, When it's a pretty hard question, but it really isn't. When should fathers turn the church over to their sons? And I know the answer is when God says so, but sometimes I think God says so, and they die with the God said and never prepare the sons to do so, or the women to do so, whichever one they see fit to take over the church.
Hmm.
So when should there be preparation for a successor?
Preparation for a successor should start immediately.
Mm,
When you should, in the back of your mind somewhere, your thought should be, you know, who's going to succeed.
hmm
There should always be a succession plan
hmm
or thoughts towards succession. And many times, many fathers do not do that. Many times they want a successor. Sometimes they see a successor, but they are not willing to release the successor. They're not.
Bishop, because that was my next question, but since you already on it, go there.
Well, it's a twofold. It's a twofold issue. Number one, the issue there could be issues with the successor. I see you as a successor. I know God's hand is on you, but you refuse to position yourself. You refuse to make adjustments in your life.
Mm,
You refuse to mature. You refuse to take my discipline and take my lessons and take what I'm trying to teach you. So I want to give it to you, but you're not ready for it.
mm.
I want to give it to you, but this is a this is a race where we're running. You're not running, you're walking.
Wow.
You're not you're not enduring. You're not enduring. You're still you won't grow up. You're still trying to get out of the race when you get tired. You're still trying to go and sit down and stop running. So I want to pass it to you. I want to give it to you, but you're not positioning yourself.
Wow. Wow.
And then, but then there's the problem on the other hand of the one that's being succeeded, not wanting to go ahead and pass the torch. Now you're slowing down. Now you can't keep up, and you're trying to run with a torch that you can barely carry.
Whoa. 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 Say that again.
You're trying to run with a torch that you can barely carry. You've been running. You've been running for years. But time, the years have had an effect. You're not running like you did 20 years ago. You're not carrying the torch like you did. And so now God is giving you someone, God is giving you a successor, but you're still trying to run with the torch, and now you're putting yourself in danger. You're gonna fall, drop the torch, everything gonna catch on fire. You're
Fire.
gonna burn the whole Coliseum down instead of just going ahead and passing the torch. And so the problem comes in. Sometimes the problem is not just one of them. Sometimes the problem is both of them. Both of them at the same time. You got both of these issues going on at the same time. You won't grow up so I can give you the torch.
Hmm.
But now I feel like I got to hold on to the torch, and so now we here, and everybody is sitting there waiting for this race to continue. I need this race to continue so I can continue. Now we're holding up everybody because we got these issues. So what has to happen? There has to be a a settling on both sides. There has to be an understanding on both sides, which I must say I appreciate with what I see with you and your dad.
Oh, thanks, Bishop.
I really appreciate that. He is to be he is to be honored for being able to know when it was time
Hmm.
to pass the torch.
Right.
And you had to be in a very special place
Hmm.
for him to not just pass you the torch,
Hmm.
but pass you the torch and then go in the stands and shout
Hmm.
and push you on
Hmm.
from the stands.
Hmm.
That says a lot about him, and that says a lot about you.
I appreciate that, Bishop. I really do. Don't
That's
make me tear up here.
no,
I appreciate
that's really the truth.
it.
That's really the truth. Um, yeah, you don't see that. You don't see that near as much as you need to see it. You really don't see it. It's
Hmm.
basically unprecedented. You don't
Hmm.
see a lot of that in our neo Pentecostal um, churches,
Hmm.
but it's something that should be it should be done. You know, um, yeah.
So, so let me ask you this, and then we're gonna close out. Um, what would you encourage? What would you say to the sons who know that that they're the next in line, but they just have a problem with patience and waiting and being cultivated and developed and being poured into. I mean, you remember I was just an elder when I met you, and we talked, and you encouraged me. You gave me wisdom and nuggets and different things that because my mind is always. I'm always intrigued and asking questions, even though I wasn't in the position. But I know that I wanted to get wisdom, and I want to be, I want to be successful in what God has called me to do. And so, what would you say to the sons and the daughters who are becoming impatient, or they just feel like they can't wait? What would you say to them? I know that the simple question is wait, but because if God gave it to them, whatever is theirs is theirs. But we all know how different things can influence us in a different way, in a way that would be unpleasing to the honor of our parents or our father. What would you say to those people?
Um, Ecclesiastes talks about there's a time. I think Ecclesiastes 8. It talks about how there's a time. Basically, there's a time for everything.
Mm-hmm.
if you have an understanding of timing,
Mm-hmm.
and excuse me, I gotta plug in my computer.
Uh,
That's the problem with a lot of people. They don't have an understanding of time.
mm-hmm.
But the greatest maturity is the greatest sign of maturity is understanding that there's a time.
Mm-hmm.
There's a time. There's a time set for this to happen, and if this happens in time, it happens with the blessings that go along with it.
Wow. Okay. I got
If you get it out of time,
it. Mm-hmm.
you miss the blessings of it.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't wait on your time,
Mm-hmm.
and you just have to wait on your time. You got to wait on your time. You can't. It's nothing else you can do. You got to wait. You got to wait on your time, and
Well,
that's some.
well, well. Some of them go out and just start their own.
Yeah. In now there may be a case when that may be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
There may be a case when that may be necessary.
Right.
However, if that's not what the will of God is at that time,
Mm-hmm.
it's going to be a problem.
Right.
It's not going to be a blessing to you.
Right. But
So
but you got to know that it's God.
you got to know that it's God,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to have done, you know, you have to have proven yourself
Mm-hmm.
to be waiting on God's move,
Mm-hmm.
and it not just be your move, just jump up and something that you do.
Right. Right. I totally understand. I get it. Now,
Hmm.
can I ask you this? Now that you are a bishop and you've been a bishop for how long? How many years now?
Um,
That you can count?
ooh, I'm dating myself. 20 years.
20 years as a bishop in the Lord's church.
Hmm.
And so ironic that your church is called the Lord's church, right? So, a bishop in the Lord's church for 20 years. Do you ever stop being a son?
No, no, never stop being a son. I'll always be a son.
You
I'll
you,
always be
ans-
a
you
son.
you answered it. So it doesn't matter how many titles you had. You're still gonna be a son.
Still gonna be a son. Always. You'll always, you will always be a son. Um, you'll always be a son.
Mm.
I my dad is dead,
Right. Right.
but I'll always be his son.
Yes. Yes.
That's how real sonship is.
Hmm. And,
Um,
and you're still honoring him through your life.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And with that in return, you being a son, now you are also a father.
Hmm.
So I I just want to encourage the sons out there that it doesn't matter your title. I know we all have aspirations, but the main thing is being a son of honor,
Hmm.
being a son of honor, and regardless of what paths you take, it's still important that we honor the ones who have come before us. Like, even though although I'm pastor, I still take time out and a Sunday, um, where, we have Founders Day, which would be my father's day, and we cherish him and give him love, because I don't ever want there to be a time where he thinks, which he doesn't, that we don't honor him. You paved the way. You made this possible for somebody like me. So I like to honor him. And the crazy thing is, Bishop, is that he still preaches. And he said, son, whenever you allow me to preach or you want me to preach, he preaches. When I had my surgery on my shoulder, he held down the church. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that was like for 3 months. He held
Mm-hmm.
down the church. And then every month I still, because I need, sometimes I need that reflection of my, for myself, and need to be poured into. And so what better person is it to have him speak, and I get poured into. And so,
Absolutely.
I still honor my father, even though I'm the son and I'm the pastor. I still honor him, because um, I just feel that honor should never be eliminated out of the relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's important that sons actually honor their father, and just by chance, like Bishop said, father has gone on to be with the Lord. You're still a son. I hope y'all got that. I hope y'all got that. You're still a son. And so I just want to really just thank Bishop for coming on tonight, and just dropping some nuggets and encouraging us in the way that, and giving us some wisdom as far as the relationship between sons and fathers. And it is possible that it can work. And we believe that, that God has orchestrated this institution, as far as relationships are concerned. He's orchestrated that so that there can be successors. There can be somebody that will carry on the torch, and, as Bishop said, not drop the torch, not drop the torch because it's too heavy. And so I really appreciate what Bishop has poured into us on tonight. I really do. And so I want each and every one of you, please follow him on all of his social media. Bishop, what's your name and everything on social media, so
Mm-hmm.
that they can find you?
Just Eric McDaniel.
You see how simple that is? He even put Bishop in front of it. He
No,
said Eric McDaniel, and that's on all of your Instagram and all of those.
Instagram. I think Instagram might be different. I think Instagram is E McDanny.
Okay, so if y'all could find him on E McDanny on Instagram, and then here um, on Facebook, and just follow him. I mean, he's doing some amazing teachings, which next I want to dig into his mind about hermeneutics and homiletics and apologetics and different things that I'm teaching my staff and the ministerial staff here. But I would love to hear his take on those different terms as far as what that is concerned. I'm glad that we are connected, Bishop. I'm glad that we have a covenant relationship, and I appreciate you for taking your time out to speak with us and our church on tonight. I love you
Right.
so much. I really
Love
do. I
you
love you so
more. Love
much.
you more, man.
And
Love you
so
more.
each and
Thank
every one
you.
of you, please make sure that you are following us. Follow us on our social media pages. We thank God for what we just learned on tonight, and there's going to be more conversation. There's going to be more conversation as far as with this. I really enjoyed myself and had the time to really dig into the mind of Bishop Eric McDaniel. And so I'm asking each and every one of you and those who are connected to Life Restoration Church, I'm asking you at this time, you can sow into the ministry, and you see what we're doing. You see how transparent we are. You see the growth of the church and the growth of the work that we are we are doing, and God has allowed us to accomplish it. And so, but it's by your generous donations of whatever you are giving on tonight. I want to thank you and I appreciate you for doing so. And so I'll need everybody to write down, success is on me. Come on, write that down. Success is on me. And as we are leaving, if you have any other questions that you want Bishop Eric McDaniel to answer, if you have any questions, I want you to write that down, because on our next live we can start off with those questions and then get in to the topic that we are going to discuss. And once again, that is my brother, that's my friend, that's my covenant brother. We have that covenant relationship, and I'm so glad that God has connected us. He connected us, and I am so grateful for that. And so each and every one of you, as you are writing successes on me, press those hearts, press those thumbs up, and we will see you on Sunday or whenever we come back on. Make sure you press those notifications so you are alerted to when we come on. I love you so much. Success is on you. Success is on you. I love you. Be blessed.